Okay, Bloom filter, there is not too much that I want to add at the moment. I still think about good things to tell you, but let's see what's good and what's bad about Bloom filter. So, as you remember, for Bloom filter, going back to the first slide, Bloom filter, you can allow insert. I didn't exactly tell you what's the time for an insert. It's very much depending on the hardware and how much parallelization you want to do, but it's not the point. You have a few hash functions, so as far and the number of hash functions that you are computing is somewhere between 1 and 5. So whatever you'll do, the find operation is fast. So insert operation is fast as well because it just look at a few bits of some big array, and I'll have age 1 of k, age 2 of k, age 3 of k. K is a poor choice because we need it for something else, but for the same key k, I'll compute what is the index that this function gives me for the word k. Think about k as stairway to heaven. This string, I'll compute the hash value of this string, and I'll set this bit to be 1. If it was 0 beforehand, I'll make sure I'll turn it to 1. If it was 1 before that, this particular bit, in the array of the Bloom, of course. If this bit was 0 beforehand, I'll make it 1. If this bit was 1, I make it 1, nevertheless. Make sure that it's 1. How do I find if k, if stairway to heaven, is in my data structure? I'll compute what is the hash value according to the different hash functions. Each hash function just gives me an index, and I'm just going to check is all these ones are on. And if yes, then I'll say it seems that stairway to heaven is in my database, but there is a probability that I'm wrong, that stairway to heaven is not in my database. But if one of these bits is 0, then you're saying stairway to heaven for sure is not in my database, because if it was in my database, then all these bits must be 1. So I'm absolutely sure that it's not there. Make sense? So there is some probability of a bit being turned by mistake by other words that are in your database. And and there is no chance that it's not in your database, but you are still saying that it is in there. Did I say it right? No, I meant the other way. Well, if it's not in my database, I might still say that it's not in my database. If I said that it's not in my database, it's 100% not in my database. That was correct. So I might have false positive. And this image that I credit for Wikipedia, I have a few words, not necessarily characters, just for the going. I have a few words. I look at the word X, compute what is the 3 hash values that corresponds to it. These are the blue guys. And I'll make sure that the blue edges turns to 1 because X is a word in my database. W is not a word in my database. How can I validate it? W is not in my database because I'll compute the 3 hash values for W, check the corresponding bits, and one of them is 0. So W is not there, otherwise all these bits were 1. Okay. And playing about with the math, the beauty here is that I don't store the string stairway to heaven anywhere. I don't even store the list of all songs anywhere. I don't have a list of numbers of the songs. I have some guesstimate about how many songs I'm going to store. I have some estimate about n, how many keys are going to be inserted, which gives me an estimation about m. M would be the number of bits, which is roughly m equal about 2n, a bit more here. There is also some epsilon in the game that tells you how frequently are you willing to make a mistake. And mistake is always a false positive. So about a song that is yes, even though no. And that gives you n. And that also gives you, I didn't show this calculation, that gives you an estimation about k. K is a number of hash functions that I'm using. Not necessarily 3, maybe more, maybe less, depending on what is epsilon, the error rate. How frequently do I want to have a false positive? I look for a song, it's not there, but I still claim that it is there. So where else should I use Bloom filter? Let's see it in the right context. Is this my only database? Probably not. There should be other ones, because at some point I don't only want to guesstimate whether Stairway to Heaven exists or not. I actually want to download the song. So why do I have to use Bloom at all? So let's think about the following part. Here is me, and I'm connecting to a few users' database over the network, database 1 or user 1, database 2, and database 3. And I want to find Stairway, to ask if any of them has the full song, right? So we are connected. They are not necessarily databases that are sitting near me. That is, performing a query in each one of them might involve network activity, which makes it slower, might involve going to hard drive or to slow memory unit instead of just being in the cache. That's to assume that the whole database sits in a slow memory volume, hard drive, disk, SSD, and so on. And maybe there are a few of them. And I still want to ask, hey, do you have Stairway or not? And where do I use the filter to filter the hard drives that I'm actually going to bother with this query? This query is competing with a lot of other songs that I want to, or users want to download. There are lots of users in the system. So by keeping the Bloom filter if I keep the Bloom filter is nothing but an array of bits and zeros, and it's not a very long array comparable. Right? It's not neglectable, but it will be about 2 bits per song. So it's definitely much, much shorter than writing the name of the song itself, or even the number of the song from some big list. It's still much shorter. So I can keep it specifically. If there are changes in the database from time to time, I need to update it. And what can go wrong? I'll check for DB1. For DB1, hey, do you think that you have this song or not? Submit this query and I'll check with my copy of the Bloom filter. Does the Bloom filter think that DB1 has this song? And if Bloom filter says no, they don't have it, DB1 doesn't have it, then I let DB1 alone. I'm not going to search for it because the Bloom is not making positive, not making false positive. It will never say about something that is not there that is there. If it says you don't have DB1 doesn't have Stairway, I don't bother checking here. If it says that, yes, it does, it seems that stairway is there, then I'm going and submitting a slow query for DB1 to check, do you actually have it or not? And according to epsilon, somewhere between 5% of the time to 1% of the time, I submit a query for a song that is not really there. That's OK. I still saved a lots and lots of queries that I don't need to. Make sense to everybody where it is used? It doesn't use to be legal evidence that DB1 has this song. It allows me not to bother slow databases if there is good evidence that I will not find what I'm looking for there, especially if I can do this whole process of searching in the Bloom filters of a few databases in parallel, because it's such a fast operation. OK, and play a bit with the math to the level that I didn't develop everything here. I just started to hint what the basic idea that works over there. There is a good chance, there is not a bad chance that whatever I'm looking for is one. Well, how come it's one, even though the word that I'm restart. I'm doing find of stairway to heaven in all my functions. I'm checking the first bit of the Bloom. It says yes, 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 but because of other songs, not because of stairway. Quite possible. But what you want to argue in playing with the math is that for one particular bit, there is not a high probability, given that n is not very small. N and m, the number of bits in the table, are large enough. Playing with parameters for one particular bit, the chance of a false positive, it's 1, even though stairway to heaven there is not too large. And now you're doing a k, the number of hash function. You're doing this check a few times. So what's the probability that this is falsely 1, and this is falsely 1, and this is falsely 1? Then the probabilities of false error is now multiplied. So you can bring it to be quite low, to about 5%. The way you're doing it is that the user specified epsilon, say 5%. Everybody understand what a 5% is? For 5% of the errors, I will get 5% of the songs that I'm checking. I'll get the answer yes. They have it, even though they actually don't. So for 5%, that's the number of bits you're using, about 2n or 3n, and the number of hash function would be between 3 and 5. OK, and there is a lot of things that we can estimate based on the Bloom. Like, we have 2 documents, and I want to ask how many words in common, keywords in common the 2 documents have. I can check all the keywords that document 1, the document 2 has. Now I made DB2 to be document 2. And I can ask how many of the words that I'm sure the document 2 has are also in document 1. Check each one individually, with or without errors. But Bloom gives you a way to estimate it much quicker. It's approximation, but both sets, S and S prime, documents S and S prime, is roughly the number of words, is exactly the number of words that are here, plus the number of words that are here, minus the number of words that are in the intersection. That's just for any, that's for just any measured of the document. You are just asking how many keywords do I have in each. In the first document, how many keywords do I have in the second document, minus how many keywords do I have in both of them. Here there is nothing surprising to use this function. It's actually not approximated, it's exact. What's nice about the Bloom filter is that from knowing how many bits each one has, I can estimate how many keywords it has. And that's pretty cool, including how many words are there at the reunion. I don't know exactly. One way is to check the number of words car one by one, number of keywords one by one, how many words appears in either the first or the second or both. But there is a much quicker way to compute the Bloom filter of S union S prime. And you can do it in hardware. How? This is a binary array. This is a binary array for S. Here is another binary array for S prime, the Bloom filter of S prime. And what is the union of the two Bloom filter? What is the Bloom of S union S prime? You're going bit, and saying if this is 1 or 0, then you're just asking for the first bit, and the first bit, if any of you is 1, then in the resulting bit, I'll set it to 1. And I can do it bit by bit, but I can also use the power of the bitwise arithmetic that your computer is so good in doing. Right? You can say, take two binary strings. I don't think about them as strings. I just think about them as numbers, long integers, and do bitwise OR. And the result will be the Bloom. The result of this and this will be the Bloom of S union S prime. All the bits are on. And now I can use the number of ones in each one of the filters, the number of ones in each one of the filters, as a good estimation of how many keywords it stored. So that's very strong. I can actually ask, here is a good estimation about how relevant this document is to this document without checking each word independently. OK. Why can't we do deletion, at least in this data structure? Why can't I do deletions? Why can't I go and I have a string k, and I just want to turn this bit to 0?
You could have multiple hash function for multiple files could set something to 1.
Yes, I can turn it to 0, but I don't know if this 1 that is written here, well, this one, let's say, I inserted Stairway to Heaven, so I'm sure that this bit is 1, because age of Stairway points to this one, then I'm sure that this bit is 1. I can find it. But I don't know if Stairway was the only one that caused this word. Maybe there are other words that points to it, quite likely there are. So I cannot do deletion immediately. So there are tricks around it, like we can have a counter next to each one, but then it's not so compact. Or we can use another Bloom filter of the words that we have deleted, and from time to time to clean it. But these are hacks, and of course, we can. One sec, I'll be right with you. Well, if you can put all your hash table in your cache, in your fastest memory, then maybe you're not gaining much from the Bloom. I agree. The moment that the number of items starts to be larger, so I need to go down in the hierarchy of how fast it is, then of course it's much. The idea about the Bloom is that it's really, really short. So if there is an update on DB1 from time to time, periodically it will send me its updated Bloom filter, and it's short. Again, 2 bits for every key that is in the table, not every song that might appear, every song that is appeared. And yes, I need to know what is n ahead of time. But yeah, it's good as a filter. It is, if you need an evidence of, yes, it is in my database, or you want anything beside, in addition to just the answer, yes, no, I have it or not, then of course Bloom filter does not try to do. But if you want to say you have a quick check for your viruses on your router, you are building a firewall and you want to check, hey, this pattern, does it appear anywhere or not? Then it's a very quick way to check a lot of patterns. Is this one of the patterns, the suspicious pattern or not? And if yes, then I'll move ahead and double check it. So yeah, it's good for the thing that it's good for. OK. When I'm asking in 445 what the topics that was most liked, I think that there is always people that stable marriage is kind of winning. I hope that we can pass this whole algorithm without falling into any of the obvious point out there. Yeah, we want to speak about the stable marriage. Very, very famous stable marriage algorithm. Might be the cool, nice time to relax from other things in the course. OK. And it follows actually a paper that was part of a Nobel Prize in economics of Gale and Shapley in '62 that studied the tiny little nose that I understand. Stability in the market. It's talking about stability in economical system, but we'll see it, how it works over here. So it's Gale and Shapley, and it is I'll just show you one out of a big, big collection of algorithms that describe it. There is a nice book that if you look for the stable marriage, if you'll Amazon for stable marriage, you'll find plenty of books, including this one. It's the only algorithms that I know. And here you have one of 2 papers that I have on the topic. So I can show you later what in particularly which version of the stable marriage I was concerned about. And here is the input. There are a lot of apologies that comes from this problem. We assume a set of males, a set of females, and we assume that matching happens only between a male and a female. So we are already talking just about this type of assignment. There is no moral judgment or anywhere in this whole discussion. Okay, and it actually is going to get worse about it. So again, no moral judgment. We'll keep it as an algorithmic problem. So what's the input? We have a set of n females named 1 all the way to n, set of males named 1 all the way to n, and each one ranks the opposite gender. That is, male 1 says, I really want to marry female 3. If she will turn me down, I really want to marry female 2. If she will turn me down, I really want to marry, and so on. So every person gave a complete ranking of the opposite gender. Female 2 said, 5 is my top choice, 3 is my bottom choice. Okay. And that's the input to the algorithm. A full ranking of the opposite gender, where this algorithm is a lot of the time used variant of this algorithm is where you have students, like interns that med schools that are looking for internship, and they are ranking universities. Universities rank interns, and then we are looking to match them, not necessarily one-to-one. Okay, but ideas like the stability of the matching will be similar. Yeah, we already showed this book by Gastfield, and don't remember the other author. I have it in my office. And I'll use sometimes the word pairing, sometimes I use marriage, sometimes I use matching. I mean exactly the same thing. Matching, marriage, pairing mean the same thing. Here, and just when I'm looking for a matching here, I'm not looking for a matching for a particular person. A matching will be a matching of each and every individual of the person in a pair. One male, one female, one male, one female, and so on. Okay, so that is the definition of a matching. And when I'll ask you in the final, find for me a matching that does something, it means a ranking of everybody. Or I'll ask you, give me a preference list that results in a matching that, again, it's a list of pairs, everybody is matched. Okay, just when we saw when we'll see pictures where of preference list, the preference list of female I would be 5 would be her top choice, not available. Male 19 will be the next one. If male 19 is not available, then she will male 40, and so on. So that's how we understand the preference list of each person, and somehow there are no ties, right? And everybody is ranked by everybody else. Okay, and let's define what is a rogue couple. Very, very basic definition in the algorithm. So let's assume that we matched everybody. They are already married or they are about to be married, your choice. But we want to say that this is not a good matching if there is a rogue couple in this matching. It's not a good matching if there is a rogue couple, unstable couple. So what is a rogue couple? A rogue couple in this context is, let's think about female I and let's think about male J. If each one of them got their first choice, then this is a very stable pairing. Now, let's think about the case that they are not married to each other. If they are married to each other, they are not a rogue couple. If they are paired, they cannot be a rogue couple. Rogue couple are only defined by pairs not married to each other, but not being married to each other is just a necessary condition. Something else should happen to make it unstable. Again, if they both got their first choice, nothing to say about it. They are stable. Realistically, they are married to somebody who is not their first choice. She is married to a husband, sorry for the spelling mistake. He is married to his wife. They are not necessarily their first choice, hopefully not their lowest choice. There is some marriage going on. But let's think about this couple that suddenly started to talk. They looked at their list, and he is saying, I see female I that I'm just chatting with, and I prefer her. She's higher on my list comparing to my wife. I would prefer female I over my wife. What is she saying? In my list, female I is saying, in my list, this guy, I prefer him over my husband. So they both will earn something if they'll dump their spouses and marry each other. Right? We're ignoring the moral side. We're not saying that they will do it, but at least there is a potential of unstableness here because they both earn, they will both upgrade in their list if they will dump their spouses and marry each other. They are both each as a pair, which are not married to each other, but canceling the two marriages and marry each other will bring them both more happiness, if you wish. That's what makes a rogue couple. So when we check for rogue couples, we essentially need to check if there is a marriage, and we are asking is this marriage is stable or not. We need to check all the couples which are not matched to each other. Asking either anybody that they will both match. So wait, doesn't it always be, unless I'm guaranteeing that everybody gets their first choices, doesn't it always be the case that there is a rogue couple? Surprisingly not. It's not always the case that there is a rogue couple, because he can say, I would prefer having female I over my wife. But she would say, in my list, there is my husband. Maybe he's not my first choice. You are definitely lower than my husband, so I have no interest of dumping my husband for you. I will only lose. And vice versa, of course. Okay? So there is it will say that it's stable marriage if there is no couple that are mutually both earn for dumping their spouses. If one earn, the other one will lose. And here you see where it's kind of getting into Nash equilibrium, economy. It's there is a stability if there is always somebody. If we move away from this stability, somebody will lose out of it. The instability comes from having a place where everybody will. Okay. So our problem would be either given a preference lists, everybody gave us the preference list, can we find a matching that has no rogue couples? That the matching is stable. From now on, stability means no rogue couples. Okay, and the algorithm that will present to analyze it is very much similar to the 1950s dating scene. So how is a dating scene looks like? And how do I know that I can always find such a matching, such a pairing, which is stable? So that's kind of what we are going to see today, and then asking more philosophical questions of is this algorithm is good for everybody? And what does it maximize? What does it minimize? Okay. So what we'll show that no matter what the preference list, what do I mean? The different preference list, meaning two males might rank females, the same females, in different order, each one with his preference list, and the same goes for two females will rank the males in different ways. I don't have any limitation whatsoever about the preference list of each person. How does this person rank the opposite gender? What we'll show is that, sorry, went too far, no matter what the preference list is, I can always find a perfect matching. Stable marriage. Okay. Terminology. In the 1950s, we would have the males that are proposing marriage to the female. Male comes to the balcony. It's going to be the balcony. And he is going to sing a song and play something on his guitar and ask for her heart. And we will have the process of running the algorithm. And during this process of running the algorithm, she will never tell him yes. During the original process, she will never tell him yes. What might she tell him? She might tell him, maybe, come back tomorrow, and I'll let you know. And I'll give you another chance. Come back tomorrow and try again. The maybe will mean I'm putting him on a string. or she will say, absolutely not. She'll say, no matter what, I will never marry you. I don't know yet whom I'm going to marry, but it's definitely not going to be you. So the male has one of the two options, either absolutely not, you're rejected, never, or maybe come back tomorrow. Okay. And of course, since she means it seriously, once a male is, once he proposes, he cannot change his mind at the evening. He has to come back tomorrow. That's a commitment. And if she'll tell him yes, he's committed to marry her. And a male that got rejected will not propose to her again. She's not going to change her mind. He's still going to say to stay in the rejected part from this female. So from his list, he will cross her out. So as we'll see, it's huge emotional toll on the male side because they have to handle sequence of rejections, and it's kind of nice boost to it if you want, for the females, and it's kind of an illusion. But as we'll see, the status of the females is getting better and better in this process, and status of the males going worse and worse, but there is a but coming. Okay, so what happened in air? In the TMA, traditional marriage algorithm, remember this term, we will use it a lot, TMA, one female walking on the balcony, she has a bunch of worship males that are all offering their heart to her, and out of all these males, what is she doing? She's looking at her list. She sees out of all these males that are making proposals to her, let's see who is the highest one in my list. And this is the one that I'm putting on a string. I mean, if he's the top one on her list, then maybe she can tell him, yes, sure, I'll marry you. But if he's not the top, but he's still better than anybody else, she's putting him on a string. Maybe something better will come. So she's putting him on a string, and for the other ones, she's rejecting. Absolutely not. Why is she rejecting them? Because in any scenario, as long as she's keeping him on a string, she prefers him over any other male that proposes. So it's safe from her side to let the other ones go. So here is a TMA algorithm. TMA occurs in in this dating period that takes at most n squared days, n is a number of males and the number of females, both n. And what happens every day? At the morning, each male make a proposal to the best female, among whom the best female on his list, which did not reject him yet. Every male, look at his list, see, my first stop rejected me. My second choice rejected me. My third choice I still don't know, so I'll go and make a proposal to her. At the afternoon, for every female with at least one proposal, because at this day, the sequence of day, at this day, maybe some of the females still don't have a proposal, but for every female that has at least one proposal, what does she do? For the one with the highest that she likes the most out of all the proposals, she will say, maybe come back tomorrow. And he's committed to come back tomorrow and the next day. So he's on a string. Any other proposals that she got, she rejects. I will never marry you. At the evening, every rejected male crosses out the female that just rejected him off his list. So the next day, he will. Here is males one list, since we are going to use this operation quite a lot. So his top choice is female 17. His bottom choice is female 100. Here is first day. He will make a proposal to 17. She rejects him. Maybe she has 17 is very popular, has a lot of other proposals in the very same day. Next day, he will propose to 19. If she rejects him, next day, he will make a proposal to 3, and so on. OK. And here is a lemma that I call the upgrading lemma that will say that if a female has at least one male be on a string. Oh, I forgot to say. What happened? Sorry. I skipped something in the previous algorithm. This process of rejection, putting on a string, keeps on going until each and every male is on a string. We will have to prove that it happens, but it does. At some point, every male is on a string with one of the females. And at this moment, the algorithm stops. And each female marries the last email that she may be, the one that is on a string. Okay. Notice a male can be on a string only by one female. But during this process, some males are not on a string, but when this process terminates, every male is on a string. Is a maybe for some female, and once this happens, the algorithm stops. OK. So our upgrading lemma will say that if one of the females has maybe some male B, put him on a string, then she will either marry him at the end of the algorithm or marry somebody that she likes even more, higher on her list. On her preference list, she prefers this other guy that she will marry. So what's the proof? Quite obvious. How come, let's say that she put B on a string. What happened in the next day or the next day or the next day? She keeps putting him on a string every day until somebody, B prime, another male comes, and she prefers B prime over B. And then she lets B go, and that's for a better person, better in her eye, higher on her list. So she prefers B prime over B. So poor B was on the list, on a string for many, many days just to get rejected because she prefers B prime over B. Does it mean that she'll marry B necessarily? Not necessarily. Maybe yes, maybe no. Possibly she will let go of B because she will let go of B prime because somebody, B double prime, that she prefers over B will come. And then she will let go of B double prime and so on. So her status is getting better and better during this process. Right? So eventually, she will always be that somebody that is either B or somebody that she prefers over B. But once she has somebody on a string, she has somebody over the string until the last day of the algorithm, where they all got married. And a little corollary here says that every female will marry the absolutely best male, the highest one on her list, among, and here is a caveat, among the males that actually came to visit her. That's a big caveat. It's the best male, but only from the ones that got to go to her balcony. Everybody agrees? The algorithm says that once she has somebody on a string, she has this one, or somebody that she prefers, or somebody she prefers. The status is getting better and better, but she will, since males are not allowed to change their mind, once she has somebody on the string, she definitely always has somebody on the string until the last day when they all get married. Okay, and remember it. She will marry the best male among the males that came to visit her. And that's maybe a message here. Okay, lemma. At the last day of the algorithm, it's impossible to find a male that was rejected by all the females. It's impossible to find a male that was rejected by all the females. For every male, there is a female that put him on a string. And he's on a string until the last male. How come? Because there is a one-to-one relationship between females that are currently having a male on a string. And if a male B was rejected by all the females, it means that each one of the other females have somebody on a string. Okay. So female 1 has somebody M17 on a string. Same goes for female 2. And these two males are different than each other. A male cannot be on the strings by two different females and 75. So altogether, what the status about male B over here? It cannot exist because this being on a string in the last day is one-to-one relationship. There are n males and n females, same number. So if we are stopping, then the number of males cannot be larger than the number of females. Makes sense, right? So so far, every male will get to be married. Okay. After n squared days, the TMA will stop. Let's prove it. After n squared days, at most n squared days, the algorithm will stop. How come? The algorithm stops the moment that all the males are on a string. So let's convert it to terms that we know. How many computer operations, how many rejections operations could happen in the whole algorithm? We had the preference list of male I, of male 1. Look at the preference list of male 1. At some day, he was rejected by female 17, rejected by another one, still on hold from female 3. But at every day, one of the males got rejected. There is at least one rejection operation at every day. Once everybody is on the string, then there is no reasons. The system is stable. Nothing will happen once everybody's on a string. If we'll go to the next day, nobody changed her or his mind, they will all be on a string as well. And so on. Nothing will happen if we'll keep running the system. So the moment that every male is on a string, it's a good time to stop the algorithm. How many rejections can happen through the whole process? Since every day one of the males got rejected, and the total length of all the preference list of all the males, I'm only counting the preference list of the males in this argument. The preference list of all the males is only n squared in length. Every day, one of them got crossed out. At most, n squared days. OK. Among the people that this algorithm is new to them, why will it produce a stable marriage? Why don't we have a rogue couple? So let's remind everybody what is a rogue couple. So just remind you what is a rogue couple, unstable couple, male and female, not on a string with each other, not going to marry each other, where she has a male one would prefer female one over here. He would prefer female one, but he's now on a string with female two, but she prefers female one. And female one has him in a higher position than whomever he has on a string, whomever she has on a string right here, whom she's going to marry. That would make a rogue couple. And my question for the ones that just heard it first time is, could it happen? Or why couldn't it happen?
So the male one is proposing in descending order of preference, so he'll propose to female one first.
He proposed to female one already.
And then female one.
It's important that males are going down the order. He already proposed to her. What did she say? No, because I have somebody that I prefer over you. So the only reason that she rejected him, if he would be the only male that proposes to her, then according to the algorithm, if he's the only male on Earth that proposes to her, she has to accept the proposal. Why did she reject male one? Because, and remember, he proposed to her before he proposed to female two, going down the list. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a rogue couple. He prefers female one over female two. Proposed to her, and
she will never down agree.
She either got an offer right now from M3, and that's why she proposed him, or she had somebody she prefers over him that she later replaced, and later replaced, upgraded. Anyhow, M3 must be higher than M1. So whomever she have on a string right now, M1. So M1. So whomever she has, that M1 definitely did propose to her. She has rejected M1 because she has an offer with somebody she preferred, until she got an offer from somebody that she's holding on a string right now, M3 maybe. Either way, all of these males, she thinks more highly about each one of them than she thinks about M1. She prefers all of them over M1. So maybe he wants her more than his wife, but she prefers her husband over him. Okay? So no rogue couple. So this algorithm is definitely will produce a stable marriage. And the theorem just states it completely. if male 1 and female 1 be any couple, and male 1 prefers female 2 over female 1, then during the TMA, male 1, did propose to female 2 before he proposed to female 1, but female 2 rejected him because she got an offer from a male that she prefers. And because of the upgrading lemma, exactly, look. The stability here is because if we are changing the marriage now, at least in the level of individual couple, that one couple by itself, if they'll break their marriage and marry each other, they will both lose. It doesn't mean that it's the optimum setting of the scenario. It's just very local stability. It's stability in the sense that there is no single couple that will both earn from breaking their marriage and marry each other. It doesn't mean that between 5 or 5 probably not, but between 8 of them there cannot be a better scenario, okay? So, and the question is, given a preference list, is this only one stable matching? And the answer is maybe yes, maybe no. Right. So I didn't tell you yet what's the preference among the females here, but what happened, or in how many rejections and what's going on, if that's a preference list among the males. What will happen in day 1? Male 1 proposes to female 1. Male 2 proposes to female 2. They are both on a string, and the algorithm terminates. The first day, the algorithm terminates. And the matching would be, of course, according to the males. Can I generate another stable marriage that is different than this one? Can I generate another stable marriage that you are sure that is stable and is different? Sorry? If I'll go to female 1, that she prefers male 2 over male 1. Female 2 prefers male 1 over male 2. And we switch rules. Now the females are the one making proposals. The males are rejecting or putting on a string. The algorithm is still the same algorithm. The results, we just prove that the TMA will produce a stable marriage. So that's a different stable marriage, obviously, because what happened in the first day? Female 1 proposed to male 2, and that's the only proposal he's going to get. Female 2 is going to propose to male 1. Right. And it's a different marriage that is also stable. How do I know that it's stable? Because that's what the TMA algorithm tells me. The TMA doesn't care who change the same rules. But these rules can be changed. But we have to have one set that is on one side if you want this algorithm, on one set on the other side. OK. So we proved that we have an algorithm. It runs in n squared. If we are playing a bit with the data structure, playing a bit with the data structure is that we need to make sure that if 2 males making a proposal to the same female, she knows in constant time which one she prefers more. if we need to go to the preference list and make a search, then it takes some time. But if we are playing a bit with the data structures, that every operation takes constant time, and it's n squared. And n squared is pretty much the best case running time to find any part. OK. Now, I just showed you a case where we have two matchings. Both of them are stable. And I hope that everybody believes that both of them are stable in this case. Possibly there are others that I didn't show you. Right? So let's think about a different algorithm, not very efficient, that possibly produces more stable marriage. And yes, actually there are exponentially many stable marriages. And how can the algorithm work? How many different matchings do I have? N factorial, right? Male 1 has n choices, one he chose. Male 2 has n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3 multiplied. N factorials, many possible matchings. And for each one, I can check if it's stable or not. Not very efficient, but I can ask, hey, is this stable or not stable for each one of them? I'm not suggesting it as a practical algorithm, just said when I'll ask about the TMA algorithm, and let's separate. I showed you the TMA, traditional marriage, this whole process of exception rejection. And I proved to you that this is a stable matching. But possibly there are other algorithms that produces stable matchings as well that are not the TMA. So now I can ask, out of all the possible stable matchings, matchings that don't have a row couple, is this necessarily the best, or is this necessarily the worst? So that's where we are going next. Is this maximizes happiness for everybody? No, not necessarily. Is this maximize or minimize anything? Yes, but you might not like the answer. So let's see. What does it mark? So I want to define what is the optimal male for a female. So think about mark, and let's think about the list of all the females that marks the ranking of mark. Here is Mark's ranking. Mark's ranking. And 200 is his absolute top. But she has so many other options. She's so popular and so attractive. She has so many options that she's way, way out of his league. No matter no stable setting, he cannot get female 200. No female 1, no female. But it's possible that there are different stable, highlight stable matching, at which he's getting different females in each such matching. So I'll say that female J is the optimal female for Mark if in his list she's the highest female, as high as she can get, and the whole world, I can find a matching for everybody else, for which female 1 is getting female 1. Out of all the possible stable matchings, not all the possible matchings, because many of them are not stable, but out of all the ones that are stable, she's the highest rank female that Mark might get. Okay? In his world, she's the only one that he realistically can hope for in a stable world. Okay, maybe she's the one that is getting that the TMA will match for him, maybe not. So, and maybe when he's getting his optimal, then John or one of the other males getting somebody that is not the other guy's optimal. Okay, so our first theorem would say that the TMA yields a matching at which every male gets his optimal female. And we'll show the proof at the next class. But let's continue. Let's talk about Florence. And the pecimal male of Florence is, for Florence, the pecimal is maybe not the very bottom of her list, because it will not be, the very bottom of her list will not be stable. She can do better than whomever is in the bottom, but there is the worst she can do, as bad as she can do in any stable world. That's the worst she can do in any stable world. Going below this guy will make the whole matching unstable. There will be a row couple. But that's the worst she can do in any stable world. Maybe it's the lowest one on the list, maybe not. I don't care. Theorem, TMA is female pecimal. Not only that, every male got his optimal female, every female got her pecimal male. And can somebody tell me why this huge discrepancy? Where is a one lemma that indicates where this huge injustice is coming from?
Because the male is proposing, the female gets to decide.
Exactly. We said every female is getting the best male among the males that made the proposals to her. Now, nowhere in this algorithm, we said she can check what's up with other males that did not propose to her. And that's essentially where this injustice is coming from. That nowhere in the algorithm we had the action of female proposing or checking anything about other males. So this not taking any initiative has a big cost, if you wish, if you want to take a message from it. Anyhow, so we have these two theorems to prove and a few cute conclusions that are coming from it. Like now when you know this theorem, can you quickly give me an algorithm to check if the stable matching is unique or not? Should be able to tell me if the stable matching is unique. Exactly. We said if we are swapping the roles of the males and the females, then now every male is matched to his pecimal female before to the optimal female. If the matching is the only stable matching is unique, then it's the same person, no matter if it's the optimal or the pecimal, it's the same person. Right. So swapping it will exactly help us check if it's unique or not. OK, so we have these two easy theorems to prove on Wednesday and talk about solutions, midterms, and so on. Thanks. Bye.